Welcome to the No Ideas Original Podcast featuring Shanon, Mr. Rob, and Zane. Episode 131. What's up, bro?
What's going on, kid? Good to have you back, son. Good to see your face, bro. It's been a
We
minute.
back. We off hiatus.
I off a hiatus, son. We always get these little breaks in there.
Yeah, we off hiatus.
Good
Sometimes
to see
it's
you.
good to have those little breaks though. What you been up to?
Man, just, not much has been going on over in the house. Just kind of maintaining things. We are preparing for the July 23rd Jerk Fest. We're putting the menu together. I've been treating the lawn so when people get out here, it's not a bunch of bugs and stuff like that. So I'm on lawn doctor mission right now to be sure the lawn is cut, stays cut. Um, Outside of that, man, I've been a couple of doctor's appointments. My doctor's appointments have been superb. My numbers have been great. My high blood pressure did spike up a little bit, but so they made a little adjustment, so it's back where it needs to be. So I feel good about that.
Would you attribute that to diet?
Nah, actually, honestly, stress, bro. It's
Oh,
not even diet. It's stress. I've been internalizing things that have been pissing me the fuck off. I'm gonna just be honest. There are things that I'm saying to myself, why is that happening? Why are they doing that? Why aren't these kids listening? I mean, we're as you know, we're in a time in this world where you have to be real critical of the things and the people that you're around. You just can't be gallivanting out in the world because anything can happen at any time. And
mhm.
they're just trying to instill some jewels in some of these babies that look, you can't do what you think you want to do all the time. Gotta be mindful, you know what I mean? And not to put my baby's business, but one of my daughters, I won't say her name, she went because she's an adult now and she wanted to get a tattoo
Uh-oh.
and the dude spelled a word wrong.
Oh God.
I'm gonna leave it at that. And listen, you're an adult, you can make the decisions, but this is where I talk about being aware and being vigilant and being just cognizant of what's going on around you. You're so happy to get a tattoo that you're not paying attention if something was spelled right. So
Yo, did she at least get the tattoo for free?
no, but what he's gonna do, he's gonna improve the tattoo. He's already created another design to cover up his error. He said she told me, she said when she went and showed it to him, the dude almost broke down and cried. You know why? Because that's your reputation, nigga. That's
Not only
we
is
can
it,
sit there and ruin it for you right now. You out here not knowing how to spell shit and
yeah.
tattooing.
It better,
But
yo, that better be a multi-syllable word. Better not be something like cat or bat.
nah, son, it's not like this. It's not like that. But I said, listen, man, I come down there and break homeboy down, bro. Don't have me come out my color. But that's the reason why my pressure spiked. I just been internalizing stuff and getting real upset. And I have to remember, I can't control everything.
Exactly.
Even with some of the stuff that we're talking about today, it's so horrendous to think that certain things are still carrying on. It's like, yeah, when do we get a break? Especially as black men, when do we get a
Mhm.
break? Or black
Exactly.
family, black women, women in general. When is there a break? But you have to tell yourself, it's probably never going to be a break. You have to take your break.
Hmm.
Ain't no one going to give you no goddamn break.
Or you got to learn how to, you got to learn how to accept the things you don't have control over. You know?
So,
Yo, we got a good show though on for coming fresh off hiatus. So we're gonna talk about my trip through Italy.
nice.
We're gonna talk about Kells, R. Kelly. We're gonna talk about Roe vs Wade, and then we're
Yes.
gonna give a little bit of commentary on two viral clips that I'm sure people have seen online. One clip is with the young lady it looks like she's at a forum or something like that, and she's educating parents on the importance of actually listening to their children. And then we're going to talk about the viral clip that stirred up so much controversy online over the last week about the gentleman who brings McDonald's home for only his child when the mother has, I think, 4 children in total. She has 3 other children. Right. So we'll pick those things apart. First, let me see if I could share my screen to show you a couple of pictures.
Yeah, I took some nice joints, man, that you posted, man.
Of,
Yo. What a nice Italy excursion. Y'all had crazy spots too.
yeah, we was definitely moving around.
I was moving around, yeah.
Man, you make a good point because I think what a lot of people don't realize. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So there we go.
What's that? So
This
you
right
did
here.
the gondola rides too, then?
Yeah, this is Venice. So what I was gonna say is I think a lot of people don't realize, like, with these kind of trips are they're adventure laden, right? So it's different than a leisure trip. Like
Right.
these trips, when you're doing these kind of trips take great endurance.
Right.
And it kind of makes me think about like what an entertainer must be going through, because you're up early every morning and you're on the bus by 7:30, 8 o'clock. You're driving for miles and miles. You're on boats, you're on planes, you horseback, whatever it is. You're just doing so much moving around. So if you're a person who appreciates leisure, like downtime and drinks and sitting by the beach and the pool and stuff like that, like these are the kind of trips, like a trip like this may not be for you.
Right.
Like as I've gotten older, I think I've grown more appreciation for these type of trips. Like I'm not a lazy vacationer. It's for me, like I can only lay by a pool or be on the beach
for so long.
But for so long before I'm like, okay, what's next? What are we doing now? Like we need an excursion or something like that. But if you look on the screen, you see Venice. Like, Venice to me kind of reminds me of, imagine going to Las Vegas, but the Strip is a waterway. Like we flew into Venice,
right?
And then we had to take a water taxi, actually, to our hotel.
Wow.
In Venice. So that Strip on both sides, it's like hotels, restaurants, and things like that. And you just see like boats going back and forth and the gondolas going back and forth all day, transporting people around.
Was that the main use of transportation? Was the gondola?
Yeah. Primarily it's water taxi. There's, I forgot how many. I think they said there's over 100 bridges, like small bridges that you got to cross if you want to walk around. Another thing that I noticed about Venice, like a lot of going down streets in Venice is like going down back streets, like back blocks and
back blocks. Yes, it look
like there's there literally is that whole
no
central area. There's no
concourse. There's no Boston Road. There's no
none of that. Like that whole central area is all a whole waterway. So when you see packages coming in, like I've seen people with the packages from FedEx and stuff like that on boats sailing to actually go through to different, like to different places to deliver. You also got to be like a person who enjoys and appreciates a lot of pizza. Like, I probably fulfilled my pizza quota for the rest of the year. Like, I like pizza, but I ate so much pizza. Pizza and wine and limoncello.
Is it a different taste than how it is here in America?
It is. You know why? You know why it is? Because it's fresh. Yeah. It's fresh. So they're making it right there for you. And when you sit down, you get your own personal pie. So the first day, I think the first day we were there, we had pizza. I forget what we had at night. But the mistake I made is that I had took a lot of US dollars instead of converting my money over to euros. And I'm thinking like, I convert the euros later or whatever it is. But the exchange rate was so different, because the current circumstances of the US dollar. So I think one day I had went. Actually, it wasn't Venice. I think the last day we were in Venice, I had went and I turned over $300. I think I exchanged 300 and ended up getting like 215 euros or something. It was something along those lines.
That sounds about right.
When we were in Venice, we went to a place called the Murano Glass Company, and they did like glass blowing where they made like vases, they made like glass animals, mirrors, or whatever it is. But Rob, this is not glass. This is glass, like $3,000 for a vase, and like mirrors and stuff like that. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
I can imagine, man, the craftsmanship that it takes, because you gotta put that, whatever that is, that glass over that hot fire, and then you twirl it and you shape it, and son, that's craftsmanship, man. Men out there burning their hands trying to.
For sure. They did a live demonstration for us also. The dude did a live demonstration for us, and he showed us how it's made. This right here is St. Mark's Square in Venice. So in this square right here, they they have this huge basilica. Like there's so much architecture, like in terms of architecture out there in churches and things like that. Like you see tons of them that you'll just marvel at and be like, man, like yo, look at the craftsmanship. So in St. Mark's Square, that's sort of like that would be equivalent to almost like almost like a Rockefeller Plaza for us.
Right,
you know,
right,
in
right.
St. Mark's Square, they had like, in addition to the basilica, they had the places where you could do foreign exchange. You could do they had shopping. Of course, they had like everywhere you went, Rolex, Gucci, Louis Vuitton,
Right.
all of those different things
Okay.
out there. So that was St. Mark's Square. And then, yo, the weather is extremely hot. It's like the sun is literally
On you, bro. No clouds. It don't even look like there was no clouds out there.
No, the sun was brutal. So then we left. When we left, we stayed, I think, in Venice for 2 days or 3 days. We left there. We went to Tuscany, and we went to like a vineyard. Okay. And they also had like lemon trees and stuff like that. Yeah, I never realized how big lemons were in Italy. Like that must be like one of their chief exports.
Ain't nothing like over here, so not them little ass lemons we get.
Nah, yo, I think I may still have it in the house. I'll show you when you come over the size of lemon that they gave us. But we went here and we ended up having we did like wine tasting, and we had a lunch. The lunch was very mid at best. I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that disappointed me throughout the whole trip, there were very few places that I had a good piece of bread. And I'm a bread dude. I like bread. I expected more from them in terms of bread. Like all the bread, a lot of the bread tasted like stale, old, and funky.
Sitting around somewhere, right?
Yeah. So, so they had at this particular place, I was gonna order like some wine from them. Because the wine was okay. It was okay. It wasn't great. But then when I went to go purchase that wine, it was something like to ship $200 or something. It was, the price was astronomical. I was like, I'm not gonna pay $200 to ship the wine. I'm certain we're gonna go to other vineyards and we're gonna be out here. But the thing that stands out to me most about this place is that there was a dog, like one of them Saint Bernard dogs there. Yo, this dog was like probably the size of a human, running around.
Just big.
Like just running around, chilling, and being like mad docile. Like as the lady was doing the tour and showing us everything, the dog was like right by her side, like as a damn assistant.
Right.
Wow. So it was a good experience. I think we ended up buying from there some hand products. They had like lemon cream or something like that.
Right. How was that?
This was, this one I have to say, a lot of the stuff, these things that that you see in textbooks growing up, I think it's we you see these things in textbooks and you envision them being so grand and like wonderful and a marvel and all that. And not to say that it wasn't, because it definitely was. But I look at this stuff and I say, like, the history that people tell us about these things, like, is it actually the accurate history? Like, all of these things have stories and everything, but I'm like, yo, is there some sort of spin on this? Is this just, just poor architecture? Somebody just screwed up and left it. But this is like, yo, this right here is actually like almost like I don't want to say out in the middle of nowhere, but there's nothing really else around it. And it's certainly a tourist trap. When you come in, there's a bunch of people trying to sell you a whole bunch of knickknacks and junk and all kind of stuff as you walk in. And then when you come in, you see it.
Can you go inside?
No, I didn't. You can though. You can, but I didn't. It's it was so many people out there. Everybody's out there taking their novelty pictures or kick it, trying to kick it and hold it up with their feet or push it up with their feet and everything. And it's certainly something to marvel at. Huh?
What's the story of why it leans?
No, I think they said that. I think they did say something like that. There was the dudes who commissioned to make it, that they didn't set it properly, and that's why it leans. But it was a far more extravagant story
Right.
than what I just said. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, this right here, this is
Yeah, they ain't paid the contractor all his money. He said, "Fuck that."
yo, I was looking, I'm like, yo, this right here is poor architecture. And then I guess the other thing is that when you see these things in textbooks or you see them online and stuff like that, for me anyway, I create this illusion almost of like, all right, okay, so when I get there, it's gonna be in this huge field and it's gonna be, but then when you get there and you see there was like a dude in an icy truck selling ices right across from it or whatever, or you see
it's a tourist attraction, and
a homeless man laying outside of it. It's like, oh, okay.
They magnify it to make it bigger than life than what it really is, man.
Yeah, it's definitely something though that was great to see. Like, was I wowed by it? No, but it was great. It was definitely great to see. And then this right here,
that looked dope.
This is in Florence.
Okay.
This is in Florence. Now, Florence to me is actually one of my favorite places. Like, if you look back here, you can see the Basilica right here.
Right. Yep.
Florence is a lot of foot tours, and if you look on the ground, you see this cobblestone. Yo, I swear this shit is everywhere, everywhere in Italy. Yo, yo, it tears your every day. People was doing thousands and thousands and thousands of steps, going on these tours. But Florence to me is like one of the better places. Like Florence, Tanya likes to shop, so we went and we did some shopping in Florence. We went to the home of Machiavelli, which was really cool. Yeah, we had a dinner there. The dinner was actually good, and then there I was able to get some really good wine. So I bought a case of wine and had the wine shipped home for me also. And Florence is like one of my favorite places. There's Florence kind of reminds me of like going all the way down in the city, but going all the way down to like where the World Trade Center was and everything. And
South Street and all them areas down there. Yeah, it's a different. I can imagine it being a different view.
Yeah, Florence is cool. Let me see what we have here.
You did go to the Vatican too, right?
Yeah. This is Florence also.
Okay.
Florence. So in Florence, it's, you're gonna see again like all the architecture and statues and the Romans. Like a lot of the Roman history, boy. Like the Roman people was about it.
They was about it, son. We still living in Roman times to this day.
That's a fact. We definitely are. They very, very.
That's patriarchal. That's the patriarchal Anglo-Saxon male at his best, right there, man.
They barbaric.
Sorry.
These dudes is barbaric. Let me see. What do we have here? What do we have here? This is like part of like the shopping district.
That's nice. That's a nice
in
little
Florence. So you see the Prada store, Fendi.
Right.
It's always amazing to me, Rob. Like seeing a lot of this stuff is because when you go to see a lot of these like monuments and historical places, for me it's always like an eye opener and a shocking, like a step back kind of thing, because it's like, yo, you just walking down the street and you turn the corner, you be like, yo, that's the Coliseum right there. It's like it's different. Like in my mind, I remember going to Egypt and just riding down the street and just turning and looking at the bus, and the dude was like, oh, if you look over there, you see the Pyramid of Giza. I'm like, you fan out. You're like, oh shit, the Pyramid of Giza.
It's big too, man. Is that a vineyard?
Yeah, and this is at Machiavelli's home. Yeah, yo, the sunsets there are amazing, man.
I can imagine. You got that open sky. Like I said, I ain't see a cloud. Every picture you took ain't a damn cloud out there. I can imagine.
Sunset. All right, next picture. Check out this. Look at this sunset.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's the Basilica right in the middle?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is Florence.
This is Florence.
Yeah.
Florence is nice, bro.
6-hour time difference too. So, imagine that. Like we out and about, and let's say we getting up at 6 o'clock to get ready to go out to go do whatever it is. We still on the time where it's 12 a.m. So
Right.
not only your sleep pattern messed up, but also your eating pattern, because now you eat in times that you usually wouldn't be eating.
Exactly.
I thought that I would gain a lot of weight. I actually didn't gain much weight.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna grab a water real quick.
Yep.
Thirsty. Gosh.
Yeah, so then we stopped to see the St. Francis Basilica also, and Assisi, on our way to going to Rome. And there wasn't really much there, honestly, other than the St. Francis Basilica. But to me, like the highlight is probably Rome. Like
What's
this
that?
this is Rome right here. Look how many people
Rome
are out
is
Rome.
Yeah, Rome is 42nd Street. That's the hot spot.
Yeah. Rome is like, Rome is where it's at. The Vatican.
Right.
We went at the Vatican. We went to see the Sistine Chapel by Michelangelo. We seen the Colosseum. We had like some good dinners when we was in Rome also.
Rome is heavily populated, correct?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, you can tell.
Yeah, the last night in Rome, we had a dinner and a woman was singing like opera while we was eating. It was actually really, really nice. Let me see. I got a couple of photos.
I got some culture, son. Y'all got some different different.
So this is what I'm saying. Like when you see like these different things or whatever. Right. So you imagine you see this statue and then right across from it is another thing that's how you call it popular out there is gelato. Yeah. Everywhere you go, gelato. So it's a whole bunch of gelato stands.
That's like the front of the Bellagio right there, son.
Yeah. This right here is the inspiration for the front of the Bellagio.
Yeah.
So, the funny thing is our tour guide was saying out there, and I had already knew because somebody else had previously told me. He was like, make sure that you have whatever personal belongings that you have that you really value, like your wallet, your cards, or he was like, make sure you put them somewhere secure. Because he was like, somebody could pick your pocket so good it'll feel like you're getting a massage.
Oh wow! Like, yeah, how you doing, sir? They all in your pocket, son.
Yeah,
there's crooks everywhere, man.
So look at this. This was one of those experiences I just described that we just happened to be walking down the street and we turned the corner and looked to the left and I was like, oh, the Vatican. So, and then right here is where the Pope comes out and gives his speeches. We got out there early. We got out there early to go to the Vatican and to go to the museum. And I was wondering myself, I'm like, damn, why the hell are we out here so early? But our tour guide told us, he was like, people start lining up really early and the line gets really, really long. So we were probably out there maybe about like 8 something. And by the time we actually went through everything and saw everything, I want to say when we came out, it may have been close to
the Vatican got their own police.
Yeah, the Vatican technically is not Rome or Italy. It's considered their own, their own thing. So they tell you to bring your passport also. They tell you to bring your passport. But when we came out, the line was crazy. Like crazy. I was like, damn, like a lot of people.
That place got a lot of history. A lot of dark history too, man.
Yeah.
That's inside the Vatican?
Yeah.
Wow. Look how majestic that place is, bro.
Yeah. So you look at the finishings.
Yeah.
All this up here is gold.
That's amazing, yo.
Yeah. You look at this stuff, and all this stuff is like people's life work. Like we look at it now, like Michelangelo, like he get all these props for all his creativity and all his artwork, but they said that he was getting paid peanuts, commissioned peanuts to put all this stuff together, and that also that this really wasn't his passion. This is the furthest they allow you to take pictures when you go in to see the Sistine Chapel. You're not allowed to take photos when you go in there. I'm gonna tell you, Rob, like the build up to actually get into it, it's an extremely long walk going through like all the museums and all that and seeing everything. once you get in there. And then the other thing is that it's so crowded, you moving at a snail's pace.
Right.
You know,
Taking your time.
Yeah, but imagine
there's a lot of elderly out there on tour.
There was a lot of elderly, and I have to say, I have my mom took this trip. My mom went to Italy in her 60s. And afterwards, I was saying to myself, I was like, damn, like, yo, this trip was physically grueling for her to be able to do this in her 60s and go and see all this stuff and do all this walking. Like, I had to tip my cap to her because, every night I was complaining about the walking. But the same way you see all these people in here, like on top of each other, imagine walking like that for an hour, just like literally tippy-toeing for an hour.
Talk about the worst school trip in the world.
Yeah. Let me see.
God bless y'all, man, for just going out and experiencing something that you don't get to experience every day. What's that? Oh, that's the Coliseum.
Yep. The Coliseum. Yo, you know what I'm gonna tell you, man. This is why I was saying I look at some of the stuff and I think about like the stories that's attached to it. It's the inside of the Coliseum and associated with it. You know what I say to myself? Yo, 1,000 years from now, what's gonna be our story? Like when people dig up, all of our stuff, are people gonna say, oh, hey, this they call this Madison Square Garden, and this is where great warriors came to fight, or this is where they had these big festivals, or that's
a good point. What will they say about our marvels and our landmarks and things that we revere over? That's a good point, man, because the stuff that we have stadiums. I mean, I think America is known for its parks, like Yellowstone and Yosemite and them type of things, man. I mean, but there, the architecture that was going on and the Renaissance that was happening in them times were of different. It was at a different time, man. People were actually masons. You know what I mean? The masonry work, the brickwork, and the things that they put together, like that took people to do that. They didn't use no forklifts.
Yeah.
They use none of the equipment that we have today that's building skyscrapers. And look how majestic these places are. I'm still marveled at the Vatican because I can't even imagine.
So think about it this way, Rob. So 1,000 years from now, when people come along, what are they going to speculate on how we put this stuff together? They going, our technology now is going to be prehistoric to them. They're going to be like, yeah, they use these things called cranes. It would take them months and months to build these things. Or, like in my twisted mind, I'm like, like let's say there was something where a flood happened or whatever, and or some sort of natural disaster, and they dug up the Statue of Liberty. What story are they going to associate with the Statue of Liberty?
Right. They gonna bring the whole France thing in.
So I think about this when I see these things and I listen to tour guides tell me their story, the story that's been told to them, or their interpretation of what it was, and I'm like, damn, like what if it wasn't that? Like, but this right here, the Coliseum, if you look at it, like, yo, this really laid the blueprint for all the arenas and stadiums that we go to now to see.
So I was just saying to myself, that is the blueprint. To have it circular or in a circular forum where people can oversee what's happening down at the bottom, because ain't that's where they was feeding niggas to the lions?
Yeah. They said that 80,000 people. So the interesting thing to me about this, they said that 80,000 people could fit in it, and at the top it had standing room only. And they said that they speculate that at one point it had like a retractable roof, like some kind of cloth or something like that they would use. And then the other thing is they said that it was free.
How about that?
That it was free. And what they would do is they would have like different, like during the days, like maybe around lunchtime, they would have a show. They would also use it to do stuff like public executions. They would have animals fight. It's just so many different things that they had going on in here. Another thing I noticed about their architecture also, there's a huge Egyptian influence in terms of architecture also.
There are a lot of obelisks, like the Washington Monument in Rome. Actually, a bunch of obelisks in front of the Vatican, I believe. Yeah, they snatched a couple of things from us. If not,
and this is where the wealthy people go to vacation, Amalfi Coast.
okay.
So we went to Amalfi Coast. You see, I used to see the water's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the water's beautiful. The beach, I guess it depends on what you like in the beach. Like the beach wasn't for me. The beach was like a lot of pebbles and stuff like that. But the highlight, I guess, is just like the exclusivity of it. I actually like the next place afterwards a lot better. This right here is a sky view. So we went to Capri and we went to Anna Capri. Anna Capri is like the upper Capri, and you have to drive all the way up the mountain.
So how were y'all getting around outside of being in Venice where you was using the gondola? How were you getting around here?
We used boats, vans. We did a subway. I think we did one subway, boat, van, subway, and bus, and of course plane. But if you look at this,
y'all are New Yorkers, y'all used to that.
yeah. I should have probably put another picture up, but you could, if from Anna Capri, you could actually get a perfect view of Mount Vesuvius also. Nice. And see, but if you look at that, look at the ocean, look at that, and people out there with their yachts and
right. Is that the Atlantic? Because they right in the Mediterranean.
Mediterranean,
correct?
Yeah. Right. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, it's let me see. Okay. And it's just a water view of, so you can see like this is Capri. Look at that water.
Son, out in the deep is still clear blue.
Yeah.
How did our waters get all contaminated and brown? The fuck.
Yo, they talked about like during the pandemic how Venice, the canal was actually like clear because they didn't have so much so many boats out there and the pollution. And another thing they were saying about Venice too is that a lot of those cruises before used to try to come as close as possible to Venice, but the water is really not that deep. So they said that they stopped cruise liners from coming all the way in because it was scraping the bottom of I guess like the ocean floor. Yeah. So they trying to build like I guess like a new port so cruise ships could come in, and then when they get off, the people will have to get on the gondolas to get around and everything. Overall, like I said, it was a great experience. I would recommend folks to if they have the opportunity to go to experience. And then in the last day we was coming back, we stayed in Germany. We actually got stuck in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, we missed our connecting flight. We flew into Venice, but when we left, we flew out of Naples. So we missed our connecting flight, and we ended up having to have to stay. Yo, so German people could be rude, man, very rude.
You got brown skin, bro.
Yo, they was. I wish I could say it was that, but they was rude to everybody.
Everybody, right? Yeah. They were rude. They're pretty tough, yo.
To everybody.
Germans are pretty tough, for real.
Yeah, so I got a couple of other trips coming up.
Let me tell you something, man. Y'all inspired Janelle because she was like, "Let's go to Italy." I looked at her like, "You don't even want to fly to Florida, like you want to go to Italy." But she had an opportunity to go to, was it Spain? I think it was Spain with Deja and her sister. So she's flown. She just don't like to do it. I love to travel.
What is it about Italy that appeals to her?
Probably the pictures that, I don't know if LT was putting up pictures or whatever, but she mentioned Italy. I'm like, word? You really do that? She's like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, this is something different. I ain't never hear you talk about it.
Yo, take her up on it. Why is she excited to go?
You think I ain't? I'm gonna call her bluff. I'm gonna call her damn bluff. You want to travel? Let's go.
Yeah. It just Heiko, I would say, like, think about what it is you would want to see or whatever, because we were there for 11 days, and like I said, in 11 days we went through and we had an opportunity to see a lot of stuff. And I was talking to a woman at the airport And she was saying, she was like, would you ever come back again? I was like, yeah, probably so. And she was like, maybe if you come back, you could pick like your favorite place and spend more time there. Cause you get to see, we're doing touristy things. So we're seeing all the tourist stuff, you eating at restaurants or this, that, or whatever. But I think if you go somewhere, like let's say if you guys said we want to go to the Vatican, we want to see Rome or whatever it is, and went and stayed there for 5 days, you'll really get the true Rome experience. You stay still for 5. Like the longest we were someplace was maybe like 3 days, and then you moving around. The smaller places you may hit up for half a day.
Yeah.
So
you get
but yeah, it's dope. Yeah. So we got a couple of other things coming up. Like I think next week, which I've been 50 million times, but we going for a quick getaway to Mexico. And then we going later on in the year, we going to Maldives, which Maldives is
nice, bro.
Yeah, we're going to Maldives, and then we going to Hawaii also. So, and then next year we looking at the world is opening back up.
Your Dora the Explorer shit out there, bro.
Yeah. Next year, if it ain't Italy, next year I think we're supposed to be going to Dubai, Greece. I think Morocco, and I forget what the other place is, but yeah, we're trying to get out.
You know what? I'm gonna have to send a message to LT or LT, get your girl.
Get them passports on deck.
Yes, I'll put that battery in her back real quick.
For sure. Yo, so the verdict is finally in. The verdict has come down. R. Kelly crazy pervert ass sentenced to 30 years. I heard somebody was saying they don't believe it's fair that Ghislaine Maxwell only got 20 and he got 30 years. I don't, the way I sort of rationalize it is like just Ghislaine Maxwell, she was doing the steering, and she was
for crooked shit.
Yeah, but he was the actual.
This dude, Mr. Pied Piper, what was he? Like 30 years old, married Aaliyah? Let's start there. Like he is the epitome of falling from grace.
And do you think the 30 years was justifiable? Was the time just right? Was it not enough, or was it too much?
Listen, bro, if they would have brought in his albums, you ever listen to the Untitled album? I said that's the case right there. He done convicted himself like he did drill rap. Like he just told on himself in the whole album. And I'm listening, Janelle's listening to it, and I'm listening to it like, why are you still listening to it? This sounds like the case. Like everything that they've got this man on is in these songs. And listen, man, the federal prosecutors wanted 25 years. The judge gave him 30. It didn't help. It was a female judge. He's probably sitting there like, oh, yeah, that's what you're doing to women? And gave him 5 more. Listen, man, those that were there, I think it was over 45 different victims, but a lot of them that were there to give their testimony on how they feel about the verdict and all that. And one of the victim's father spoke and mentioned that, he forgave R. Kelly. It's like, we're not even in a position to sit here and hold grudges, bro. Like, and why should you? Because this man has lost all of his, all the things that he's worked for. This man has written songs for Celine Dion, Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey. Like, that's what I mean by fall from grace. He's pretty much had any and everything in his whole career, and to throw it away because you just couldn't control your lustful desires for young women. Like, come on, bro. Like, that can't be. You know what I'm saying? I know once you get money, you get power. Well, power can really pervert how you think.
Be intoxicating.
Yeah, son. You think you can do anything that you want to do, and this is a prime example that you can't. No matter how much money, even homeboy who we just mentioned, is that he ended up killing his damn self, or supposedly. But when you got money, money gives you this assumed power that you feel like you can do anything. But in this case, it didn't work out for him. And I understand the defense was going for 10 years, and of course he got 30. But he might be retried for a child pornography case in federal court.
Yeah.
Chicago, which the state of Illinois acquitted him by. So he might be dealing with double jeopardy too.
Yeah.
Listen, man, when you got a case like this, especially in the climate, you know, with what's been going on, man. Listen, bro. 25 years. I mean, he's already 50 years old, so he ain't getting out no time soon.
Yeah.
And he plans on appealing.
That's what I was gonna say. I think a standard lawyer move is to appeal. I can't say that I feel sorry for R. Kelly though. Like, you know,
there's not an opinion about a feeling or perception. Look, this is what you did, bro. And the fact that he didn't even have no remorse and say I was sorry. So you kind of conceded to the fact that, yeah, I had something to do with some of this stuff, but listen, I can't even.
Yo, you know why the parents forgive them? Because a lot of the parents were complicit. A lot of the parents were complicit, and they, you know, you actually knew this man's reputation, and still was allowing your kid to go work with him because of his genius as a musician. So I don't. Whether they forgive him or not, to me, I think is irrelevant. Like, for him to get 30 years I think is well deserved. Like, you know,
he earned that.
Yo, my wife was saying to me, she was like, you know, you got to watch Surviving R. Kelly. You know, her and my daughter watched it. And I was like, I don't. I said, I don't need to watch it because I remember when the sex tape came out, that told me all I needed to know. I was like, I seen enough. I know what this dude is about. And
I would hate to tell you to go listen to that Untitled album.
Nah, I don't. You know, honestly, I haven't listened to R. Kelly's music in so long. Like, I just think subconsciously, I'm like, nah, I'm just, you know. And it's it's unfortunate because I guess we should be able to separate his art from who he was or who he is as a person.
Art. That's what I'm saying. In this album, his art is depicting everything he's done. I don't even want to repeat the shit I heard in that damn album.
Yo, somebody once told me.
I feel like a damn crook.
Somebody once told me what's the joint he had, the ignition joint that he was talking about little kids when he was talking about give me that tutu.
Yeah, come on, P. Whenever I forgot how even the song go, I know the melody, but listen, bro.
Yo. So my thing, I think, I believe they put him on suicide watch. My thing for R. Kelly is that I just think now if they're gonna take him in the federal court and they want to add some additional charges on it, what they gonna do? Run them concurrently? Like, you know, like I don't even know if R. Kelly at this point financially could probably continue to fight these charges. Like, yo, these cases will wipe him out, and I'm sure he ain't messing with a public defender, but soon he will have a public defender at this rate.
He tried to change legal teams at the last minute. He went and he fired his original legal team to pick.
You know why he probably fired them? He probably fired them because they probably said, "Yo, you want me to step to the DA and see if we could get a plea? See if we could take a plea or something like that."
He tried Cosby's legal team. He tried another legal team, and none of it worked. It was like he was trying to just kind of stretch.
Bill Cosby wasn't caught on tape doing his shit though.
Not at all. But I think he was trying to stretch it so I guess he could be, I don't know, man. But none of it works.
Yo,
as you can see.
Yo, R. Kelly got more accusers than Deshaun Watson.
Oh my God.
Like, yo,
had the sports crew talk about that? I'm sure they did.
Probably so. I just think, like, again, like, you know, like, for me, it's like, I'm just, in terms of R. Kelly, the 30 years is warranted. And, you know, when people like, yo, how come Ghislaine Maxwell and she didn't get 30 also, you know, I'm like, well, one, you know, part because R. Kelly is a black man, but then the other thing is I'm like, he's the person who actually was committing these heinous acts, you know, so with these young ladies. So, you know, like, I don't feel sorry for him. I probably will never, you know, listen to his music again. I find it strange how people could still defend him, but I'm sure there's people that still defend OJ, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, and what is it that you're defending in either one of them? Were they good guys? Were they upstanding citizens? What are you defending? You know, did they invest in something? Did they have a philanthropy part of their life?
Well, you know what the defense is? Them 70 women that R. Kelly groomed and made sex tapes with, them 70 little girls. You know, all of them is lying. This is this conspiracy where all these people got together.
Well, it was total
him.
45 victims, yo.
Yeah.
45 victims came and said they piece.
Yeah.
So somebody ain't lying.
Well, in the spirit of legal, legislation, Roe v. Wade overturned by the Supreme Court. Yo, before you say anything about this, Rob, this right here, yo, you know what this right here makes me think of? This right here makes me think of there's a lot of people that, they online, they're like, yo, what does Biden did for us? We need Trump back, and we did this, that, whatever it is. Like, here's the deal. If people like Donald Trump, they like Donald Trump. You like Biden, you like Biden. Whoever you like, you like. This right here is evidence, though, that elections have consequences. So if people don't realize, Donald Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices during his 4 years. 3 Supreme Court justices. Supreme Court justices have a lifetime stay on the bench until they expire or they decide that they're stepping down. There's no term limit for them. So you essentially elected this man and allowed this man to mold this court, and now people are in the streets ripping and running, going crazy, like, oh, how could Roe versus Wade be, overturned? Well, guess what? Brown versus Board of Education, Plessy versus Ferguson, all these things are now going to be on the table for people to have discussions about. Why? Because people felt like, this election is not consequential. Like, you could have hated Hillary Clinton too or whatever, but at the end of the day, like, if you could have did any foreshadowing and looked around and just looked at the Supreme Court justices, these dudes is 80 years old. Ruth Bader Ginsburg been there since the beginning. She was there forever. Whatever. Like, people really, you could have read the tea leaves and seen that, there was going to be a change in the guard, and now they got the sister who was sworn in the other day.
Yes, sir.
But, like, these are the consequences of people not being politically aware, politically savvy, and now they got to live with it. And I say all that to say, without even getting to the point of even acknowledging, like, why are we even having a conversation about something that should be a right for women?
Well, this is the thing, there's so many different twists and turns in this. One thing that stood out to me was the lady Mary Miller, when she got up on the podium, talk about on the behalf of all MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life.
Yeah.
So that was significant to me. Mm-hmm. And that, not only that, it was saying to me, well, damn, so you overturned it to preserve you. That has nothing to do with us.
To stay the majority.
Yeah, because they're the supposed majority, and in the next 20 years, they will be the minority. But they've always been the minority. They've always put the wool over our eyes because they're in control. They run the world pretty much. They're just they are the controllers of what goes on this planet.
Well, not to cut you off, Rob, but you know how they've maintained themselves as the majority? With inclusion, right? So before, you were white Anglo-Saxon. If you were Irish, you weren't. If you were Jewish, you weren't. But when they started seeing all of these people migrate to this country, they had to include them to maintain the majority.
It's funny you mentioned that. That was in the book Birth Dearth, when they wanted to increase the white population by immigration. But nowadays, the immigration, the population that people that come to this country,
it's a tough sell.
People color, son. From Haitian to Mexican, whatever Caribbean, it's not gonna happen. There's no one traveling from Europe to come over here to increase your
But
number.
You know something though? If I've paid attention, and what I see is that they are Republicans, conservatives. They're really starting to look at like inclusion, trying to figure out how do we bring Latinos into the fold.
But they've been doing that. They've been doing that. Some Hispanics and Latinos have been classifying themselves as white just because of how they look, not because of their heritage and their background, just solely by how they look. And you got to remember, being white is a class. It's not even a race. People are Caucasian. Caucasian people. We're not black people. We're indigenous original people. We come from Africa and all over the world. Some of us are truly Americans. Because if you look at the definition of America in a real dictionary, it's copper-faced people, not Caucasian. You know what I mean? But what's compelling about this Roe versus Wade? Did you know Roe was a white woman?
I did. Yeah, I seen something like recently. Whatever. All of this is coming out.
It was a Caucasian white woman. She actually came forth and admitted that the case was a lie. That she lied about being raped by a black man when she had 3 children of her own. But her purpose of lying was in case she wanted to have an abortion, she wanted that to happen for her. So you go, Roe versus Wade was already a lie from the beginning to have to make abortions legal. So here we are. Now you want to ban them because the same you're preserving white life.
Yeah.
Like, come on, son. The whole thing is about self-preservation. Just like the lady Mary Miller said, and it's a victory for white life. Let me tell you something.
That was crazy. She said that.
She said it's loud and clear.
No, I heard it. I was like, wow.
But the thing is, you know, it's a patriarchal. That's a patriarchal power move because you got to keep your numbers up. Because if not, the Hispanic community, Latino community is starting to rise. And then in 2045, they will become the majority. So from a political standpoint, they'll be making the policies, but they'll be making the policies for their culture, their race. You know what I mean? And with whites being the majority or Caucasians being the minority, they won't have that same political power. And that political power comes from a patriarchal standpoint. Yeah. But here it is. How is it that now you put in place banning abortions, right? You ban abortions, so you want the numbers of white population to increase, which includes rape and incest.
Incest, yep.
So who do we know rape and be sleeping with their own? I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that right. So there is no longer a federal constitutional right for an abortion, including bans on the exception of rape and incest. From this decision, I believe it would be it's going to transform the landscape of women productive health. So, all right, you put this in place because you want the white population to rise. So out of nowhere, white men and white women are just going to start making babies?
Yeah.
How does that happen? When naturally there was always a rift between Caucasian men and Caucasian women as to why the feminist movement came into play during the civil rights. When they were breaking up the black family and black women were by themselves and they was kicking the black man out, white women needed a little support. So what did they do? They went and got the sisters joined the movement, and now we just got women hating men and men against women and this whole thing going on. And here we are now. We still making babies. Every other ethnicity is still making babies. But why aren't you making babies?
Well, I think there's other variables, and I think that this is the most easiest tangible fix to look at. And I also think what I give credit for is that there are a number of different paths to the majority, right? So option A may be, ban abortions and increase birth rates so that way we could continue to maintain and stay the majority. The other, I think, is to look at, again, like I was saying earlier, inclusion. So, okay, if we can't do anything else, then we could say, all right, you know what? Being white is exclusive and it offers exclusivity,
It's a class.
And sell people on regardless of them having the numbers, you're still the minority. If you want to be the majority, you can now identify. And I think there are things that are done strategically to sort of lure and bring other people into the fold as, and that, to me, that's what classism is about, right? So if you think about it, and we look at like immigrants and stuff like that, like when they started allowing Irish people, they started allowing Irish people, I guess, to come in, and now, okay, you could be classified as white, but the Jewish people, they're no good. You need to stay away from them. They're this, they're that, all kind of derogatory terms or whatever it is, and it again creating that class. You create that class,
right?
make people feel like, okay, you know what, this is superior. Then the next set of people come along, and then you elevate the Jewish people to, okay, now you now qualify as white also. So what I see and what I've seen for a couple of years is that all Latino brothers and sisters, like, they're going to attempt to elevate them to a level where, you know what, you could come over here and you now can identify as white and be a part of the majority, because there's still other Black people and this, that, or whatever. So there are a number of different paths I think they have in place to actually get to maintain the majority.
Is, right?
What's counterintuitive though that they're not thinking about is like, you're stopping people from crossing the border, right? Because you're like, I don't want all these Mexicans, these Latinos in here or whatever, for fear that they may eventually get citizenship and they'll become the majority. So their concern is that if we let them get in, they get citizenship, and we don't elevate Latinos to a place where they're in the majority. Then now it's an influx of Latinos. They have all the power and they're the majority. So I think that there's a lot of engineering behind the scenes to manufacture and maintain this. And I think that this is something that's on the surface that people are looking at that basically was presented as about reproductive rights, and kind of fell under the umbrella of what people thought from a religious standpoint was right and what was wrong. But there clearly there's ulterior motives as to why.
See, I didn't even like, I don't mean to cut you with it, but I didn't even like them bringing the Bible in there about abortion, because the same Bible that you're using this to push your agenda, but you took God out of schools. Here it is, right? You want to have more. You want to increase your population, right? So no one can have an abortion, but then schools get shot up in second grade.
Yeah.
Like how do we work that out? So you have a kid, he doesn't live. He lives only to 8 years old because his school gets shot up in the second grade. Like, make it make sense. And these are the same conservatives who don't want to change no gun law, who's putting this together as it is. Let me tell you something. My thought is white genetic annihilation creates racism in its system to keep white survival alive. So you create these marginal situations where you can include, like you said, include a certain section of people, a certain amount of people who may look or fare like you, so your numbers can go up, just for you to survive and stay in power. That's what I believe it's all about. Because, like I said, if they lose power, the political and the policies and all how that works, it gets removed from them and it goes into the hands of the majority. But they want to stay in power. This is the survival tactic. They're looking to stay alive on this planet because they can't imagine themselves living in it's a fear of a black planet, son. They're trying to they're working their population monopoly so they can stay in power and keep doing what they're doing. But it's not going to work because indigenous or original people, we still make babies, man. We still cover the planet. It's more us than it is them for I don't know how long. And then another thing I just found out, right? Overturned decision has led to a spike in the number of men scheduling vasectomies.
Yeah, because they can't use it as a form of birth control anymore.
Oh my gosh. So people are going there to get their joints snipped so they don't make no babies.
Yeah, because they can't use it.
How does that help the numbers? And who are these men that are getting vasectomies?
I want to go back to something you was just saying a few minutes ago, because I think that if you think about like the lore for people that come to this country willingly, there's a subtle push to get people to assimilate. Learn to speak the language and everything. And to me, even that the whole piece around assimilating was almost like it was like kind of covert to kind of strip people of their culture and to kind of bring them, gradually bring them into the fold. And I think it's hard for people to risk assimilating because, you want to be able to speak the dominant language.
Right.
There's more opportunities if you can speak the language. You want to be looked at as a American, whatever that means, and get whatever privileges that come with being American. But I would actually say to people to try to attempt to resist fully assimilating. I think any country you go to, if you're a foreigner, there has to be some level of assimilation. But I would tell them to resist, hold on to your culture, hold on to your customs, your traditions, your rituals, and things like that, and stay true to who you actually are. Because at the end of the day, the assimilation to me is really about how do we bring you into the majority. Now, the thing that we have as black people against us is we don't have the hue that we could ever, as much as
we can never be white, bro.
Yeah, we'll never. So we're never. Then there's never going to be an inclusion of black people in it or whatever. It's just
and that's the racist part about white survival. So they're genetically in danger, because even if you allow immigrants to come over, right, don't matter where they from, and they mate with a white woman, they're no longer white, bro. Mm-hmm. Your child cannot be considered white. They be considered black, Hispanic, or whatever other nationality.
But they made that law. They made that up.
Thank you, son. When you see non-white, when you see non-white on an application, on any application, you be like, oh, I guess that means me because I ain't fucking white. So I mean, this is not even good, man.
At the end of the day, though, I also think it's just very, it's unfortunate, because I go back to whatever religious element people have to it. I respect people's opinion to say that they anti-abortion. I equally respect people's opinion to say that they're pro-abortion. For me, I'm I just think it should be a woman's choice. Of whatever a woman chooses to do with their body. Then I'm for that. Do I think it should be the go-to as a form of birth control? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I don't think that if the government is, like you said, if the government is not going to get involved in these other more pressing issues, I don't know why they need to get involved in this. And mark my words, I'm telling you, I'm gonna go back to how we started this segment of saying that people don't realize these elections have consequences, and because people feel that the presidency does not directly impact me. And, a lot of people say, oh, well, local government. Yes, local government impacts you also. But when these presidents are put in positions where they're appointing Supreme Court justices that have the ability to hear some of these landmark cases that change society as we know, and now these are coming back around.
Right.
So 30, 40 years later.
Going back to the point about Roe versus Wade. Roe was a white woman who lied about the case.
Yo, you Negroes gonna mess around and be back in slavery.
Yo, son, she lied. That ultimately made me think about Emmett Till. Exactly. So that was in 1955. So in 73, here we go again. You blame the black man for rape, which he didn't do, and you're bringing it so politically that now you're making abortions legal, because they were probably going against the Bible that says how abortions ain't the good thing to do. Mm-hmm. But now here you turning it over again, because now your life expectancy is running short. Now it's white survival, because they're just not populating the planet. There's certain European countries in Western European countries where they're paying white women to have babies.
Yo, it's funny you say that, because I was gonna say, if they want people to procreate, then maybe they need to start looking at some of the other stuff. Maybe people are in a position where financially they can't afford to have children.
But listen, if you start paying, you can't do that here, because you pay a white woman to have a baby, you're gonna have to pay that black woman to have a baby too.
Yo, what's your job? I make babies.
Son, we have babies like litters, bro.
All jokes aside, though, I'm not saying a financial incentive, all right, congratulations, here's your $1,200. I'm saying like, like maybe somebody is strategically saying like, yo, I just can't afford because I gotta pay these these student loans.
That's the case.
Or yo, I don't have a job where I could, like there are some people that's not thinking about it when thinking about those things when they procreate, but then there are other people who are like, yo, I can't afford to take care of no kid. I don't want the financial responsibility. So if the country stepped in and figured out a way where, maybe you could have a high court, why don't you figure out a way to reduce these damn interest rates again on stuff? Maybe you figure out a way to cancel student loan debt. How somebody get fresh out of college, right? And they got to go live in a mom's basement, but you want to be on their brain for them to procreate and to start a family.
In their mother's basement.
Yeah, so that's what I said. Like, yo, there's other variables that they're not looking at. But the easiest thing, again, we go back to engineering. The easiest thing is just to say, like, you know what, like if we limit the abortions, which tells me that there's somewhere some stats that's definitely giving out the information of predominantly who it is that's getting abortions.
But 37% of white women are having them. Also, 30% of black women are having them. 19% of Hispanics are having them. But in 1987, when that gentleman wrote The Birth Dearth, 60% of white women were having abortions. That's 1987. Now, mind you, it was a white woman who lied in 1973 about having been raped so she can have an abortion. So from 73 to 87, white women have just been, and what I learned from Janelle, she said one of the other reasons why Roe versus Wade passed is because women were sticking hangers up to get rid of babies. Like, all right, if you're gonna damage yourself, let me just make it legal for you to go and have someone professionally do it.
Yeah,
you're doing it or falling down the stairs and hurting yourself.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of back alley abortions.
I remember being on 42nd Street where they were showing fetuses because they was using fetuses in cosmetic products. You know what I mean? Like L'Oreal. I mean, there's a bunch of they were using, and you had people out there protesting. They had a big picture of a fetus, and then they had a makeup kit right next to it, like they're using this for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the respect for life, honestly, when you think about it, is at a detriment, man. And this country and those who operate and run this country don't have no respect for life. Just think about where our ancestors come from and how they got through what they went through. That wasn't respect for life. Think about the great crusades that people talk about. That wasn't respect for life. And not that I'm picking on anybody Caucasian, but wherever they went on this planet, they've decimated every land they stand on. Every single one. And no one done more damage to this planet than Caucasian.
Yeah.
Challenge me on it.
Well, let's keep our eye on the Supreme Court because I think that this is the first of a series of legislation
overturned shit going on because there's gonna be a lot of other changes going on. So be very, very vigilant and aware of what's going on. I know most people don't like politics, but these are one of the things where you swept it under the rug for so long, and now you're tripping over that.
Chickens come home to roost, right?
Talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
Yo, right now online, the popular clip that's floating around is the viral clip of the young lady educating the parents on a forum and a platform. When I saw that, man, I had to send that to you to check out. Like, I just think the young lady was so articulate. That piece really spoke to me because it made me think about like some of the interactions I had with my youngest son, as he was growing up. And I sat and I listened to everything the young lady said about how parents need to do more in terms of like listening to their children and how parents think that they're being supportive, but some of the things that they do are actually counterintuitive and it doesn't demonstrate support. And I stepped back and I said, I'm like, I could sit here and I could receive all this stuff coming from this young lady in here. I'm like, yes. But then I thought about myself being in a role as a parent with my youngest son and the interactions I've had with him in terms of how he may have been trying to educate me around stuff. And it's like, damn, like it really makes me think like, yo, maybe I missed the mark on some things with my youngest. And it also just speaks to like how difficult I think it is to be a parent. You know, it's very challenging to be a parent. And I think it's also like situations when you're talking about children, it's much easier when it's not your child, you know. But I think she did a very good job of also articulating, you know, she was talking about like I guess like the nature of how her parents sort of or her mom, I think specifically said something like her mom will be like, well, you know, I clothed you, or it's my house, or whatever it is.
I pay the bills.
Yo, you know, as Black parents, that's a standard go-to.
I think everybody heard that in their house. I pay these bills. I put food on the table. I put clothes on your back. I this roof over your head.
Yo.
But to her point is that when you hear that, it's most of the time it's in a condescending form. It's not saying, look, I take care of you. You eat every day. It's mostly like, Nick, motherfucker, I do that. Yo, son. And you be like, well, damn, all I did was cut school. And, you know, my opinion, excuse me, is that as a parent, you do have to leave a lane open for your kids to express themselves. You know, to totally cut them off. Children only, you know, you only speak when spoken to, which is, I get that too. But if a child has something on their mind, you gotta allow them to speak. And I'm learning that over the years too, because honestly, taking those shots at my mom, she didn't let me speak. And when I got of age, and I said to myself, when I become an adult, ain't nobody gonna tell me I can't talk. And I made that a personal thing of mine, that when I got old enough, respectfully, I can express myself to my mother, and she's not gonna turn me off or tell me I do that, because now I'm out the house, I finished school, I'm living on my own. Now you have to face me as an adult. You know, but you know, as a child, you have to give them the guidance that they need so they don't make the wrong choices, and explain to them, you know.
Well, did you hear, Rob, what the young lady said that she was saying? Didn't she say something like that? She told her mom, I guess, tell me when I'm getting disrespectful.
Yeah, see? But that comes with communication. So if I'm stepping out of line, Ma, let me know. But I have this on my mind. And that's when you get kids who are depressed, who want to run away from home, go do drugs because they feel like I can't say nothing. You always cut me off. You always telling me how much you do this, that, and the third. I get it. And trust me, a lot of these kids nowadays, some of them need to hear that shit because they lazy, they shiftless, they don't want to do nothing. They don't want to listen to nothing. There's a balance that needs to happen, and it needs to happen if you want to keep a family tight and strong. Because you know, a lot of our families are broken families. You got a lot of single moms who are working tirelessly and very hard to make sure that their children don't get caught up in the system. They don't become teenage pregnancies, and you know, your son is not going to jail. So I know it's tough, and a lot of times that expression that she was saying that parents have is coming from a place of I'm tired because I'm doing it by myself.
I'm gonna tell you what I experienced a lot of, like some years ago, probably maybe about had to be over 10 years ago. I used to work in foster care, and I was a supervisor of home finding, and one of my responsibilities was recruiting, supervising, and training foster parents. And in order for foster parents to become foster parents, they had to do a curriculum called MAP, and it was 10 weeks of training, like parenting training. So they would all go through all these different scenarios, do all this training and everything, and then at the end you would certify them. And then when they got individuals, when they would get the kids in their home, they reverted back to all their parenting went based on their previous parenting experience with their own children, or how they were parented, you know, from their parents. And what I realized was a lot of the stuff around parenting is, for lack of a better word, a lot of times it's about a pissing contest, right? And it's about exerting hierarchy. And that's why what comes out is, well, I'm the one who pay the bills here,
right?
That, and you know,
setting the ground rules.
Yeah, and you know, like it's almost like having, and you know, in our culture as Black people, we would clown white people for actually allowing a kid to have an opinion. Like, yo, you gonna take that? Whatever, like his view was back talk. Actually having a dialogue, like Bobby said he felt he ain't feeling no depressed. Get your ass in this house. Whatever it is, like we've shunned that stuff. Like we've got locked into these power struggles that now we're still trying to apply the same concepts with parenting that our parents and their parents applied to parenting kids in this day and age, right? So what did our parents have to worry about, when we were younger? We weren't getting cyber bullied. We weren't.
We were just getting straight bullied.
Yeah. But you know what, but you could turn off your bully. You go home, you don't have to deal with them. Right. These kids, is getting bullied 24/7 online.
They're using the devices, and they all hate.
It's just a different, it's just a different day and age. And I think like we need to apply new concepts to what we have going on now. And I think that, for I'm speaking for myself, like as a father, one of the things that I learned is that you do have to create a space to actually hear your children out. Whether you're in agreement with them or not, you want them to feel as if that they have the ability to say something to you without you losing it. And I think that there are things that we say not realizing like how powerful or how hurtful they may be. Like, if it comes across like the young lady said, I can see how it would come across as that you resent your child if you say like, yo, I got to be out here working to take care of you and I put clothes on your back and this, that, or whatever.
How I become the burden? I'm a burden now.
Or people who think that, you're a great parent because you could put a pair of Jordans on your kid's feet. Like it just goes so much further than that. So what I appreciated also is that seeing the people that was actually on the panel sit and actually listen intently, to what the young lady was saying, because, somebody could have probably shot her down. And I'm sure there was somebody sitting on that panel probably thinking like, oh, but they could have shot her down right then and there.
She's talking too much now.
Or who she thinks she's talking to, or young lady, you need to listen to mom, or this, that, or whatever. Like, part of that, I think, is our defensiveness. I'm happy that my youngest will be 20, that I don't have to, because I just wonder, like, I know it's going to be extremely difficult for the people coming behind us. And I think that what I noticed that for my mom, I think my mom was great with me and my brothers. But even now, like, before my mom passed, with like all her grandchildren, she's a different person with them. But it's a different level of responsibility, and I think probably more patience and learning having went through with us and the grandkids coming and stuff like that and everything. Like, I don't know why we don't use experiencing to improve or to gain patience. Usually, instead of us gaining patience, usually when you get to like your 4th, 5th child, your patience is shot. You're like, I'm done with this. You know what? He graduated from 5th grade. He can get out the house now. You a man. You can get a job. You in 7th grade. You can roll.
It's a very delicate balance. And you have to instill, like a earning system, man. You do chores, you get paid for. You have to teach your kids responsibility and accountability, and also, respect. You know what I mean? I'll allow you to speak, but like she said, Mom, let me know when I'm getting out of line.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant thing to come out of a child to a parent who's allowing the child to speak. So if they do get too hyped because now they got a chance to hold on now, you're going a little crazy. I'm allowing you to speak, but I don't want to pop you in your head. But there has to be a delicate balance. But I hate to say, treat your kids like your friend, because then there's no authority.
There's no hierarchy. There has to be some hierarchy. Yeah,
there's no authority.
And there has to be healthy. There has to be healthy boundaries. Like that's where I think like like sometimes I listen to people say, I've heard people say before, like, oh, my mom would let us do whatever in the house because she didn't want us going out and getting in the truck. And I'm like, yes, and that's why I'm like, nah, like, yo, I can't. I can't rock with you on that. You lost me on that one. But you know, I get why people will want to engage their children in a healthy dialogue. Like, yo, you think about, like, as Black people, one of our number one sayings to our children is, I brought you in this world, I take you out this world. Yo, how is that comforting? How is that comforting or engaging that make you want to have a conversation with your parents?
You just said you're gonna kill me.
Yo, I brought you in this world, I take you out. And kids, you know what the other thing is? Kids have the knack for highlighting your vulnerabilities. Like they don't have no filter. So the areas that you the most raw and vulnerable in, that's where they're gonna hit at. That's why you got fired from work. Oh, you don't be talking that shit to your boss. Oh,
you ain't say that to dad.
Yeah, so you know, it just I do think that was a remarkable clip. And I think that everything that young lady said was on point. And for somebody who is currently in the process, I think, of parenting a teenager or preteen, I would strongly recommend that they watch that clip and take her advice.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. The other viral clip that everybody's talking about, and what's your thoughts on this? The viral clip of the man showing up with the McDonald's for only his child, when his baby mother had 3 other children.
By 3 other dudes. Like, oh my God, this is so, oh man. You know, this is twofold because.
Easy, Rob, easy. Be careful with this one because you're about to lose some female fans.
Listen. Now, I'm going to just say for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I was, because I've been there, dating someone who has children. You know, I didn't have, unfortunately, I didn't have any children of my own. But when you date someone who has children and you're involved with that children, and them children get to know you, they get to look up to you, they get to see like, yo, that's probably stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just break that off. You can't. You cannot do that. So, to her point, you know how I'm living. You was here. Them kids love you. And I know that we broken up and you have 1 child in this house now. I mean, it's McDonald's, my nigga. Like, there's a $1 menu. You could have brought all them kids food. But I think he was being like, nah,
petty.
Fuck that.
He's being petty.
Fuck that. I'm going to take care of my kid. How about that? And I can do it. Because I know you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So now you got just typical ratchet shit going on. I mean, homegirl, listen, this is the life you done made for yourself. You got babies by these separate dudes, and if he want to be petty, he's not wrong. Is he wrong with saying I have 1 child in this house?
You know, I'm gonna tell you though where he was.
I'm gonna leave it at this. If it were me, I wouldn't do that because I've seen children go through separation anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them go through, favoritism and all that, and that's not a good thing for a child to experience at a very young age because they take that with them into their adult life and they feel ostracized, or then they get a chip on their shoulder. They be angry kids. No one loves me, and then they end up becoming the bullies. They end up bullying somebody. So you gotta be very careful about what you do.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you what the issue I have with it is like, to me, weaponizing. You know, you will weaponize McDonald's or whatever against children. Like I just thought it was petty. Like, to me,
super petty.
Like you said, yeah, he could have brought food for everybody, or he could have waited till it was his time to have his son and to spend quality time. Took his son out to eat or something. But what does that say about you as a man if you comfortable going to a house where you know that there are 4 children in there and only bringing them McDonald's for 1 kid?
So you're responsible for knowing, and once you know it, and you already got these children who know you Mr. Michael, hey Mr. Michael, and you played with them, and now you just gonna come snatch him. Yo, come on.
Yeah. Didn't he say something like, yo, he could come eat it in the car?
Yes. You think he ain't gonna smell them kids ain't gonna smell them French fries on his breath? Like, you have McDonald's. Where you get McDonald's from?
Nah, like, yo,
Can't do that, bro.
Yeah, I didn't even get into, like, I know some people dissected it and was like, oh, it's her fault, and
Shorty ratchet.
and then, yeah,
multiple baby daddies. And,
yeah, I'm not even going there. I'm just thinking, like, as a man, I wouldn't show up and go to no house knowing that there's gonna be 5 kids there with one cheeseburger and a fry.
It's fucking McDonald's, bro. They got $1 menu. You can buy 10 hamburgers, my nigga. Like,
yo, speaking of McDonald's in Germany, they got wings on the menu in McDonald's. Yeah. They got wings. But yeah, like, I just think that was a different level of petty. Like, I can't get down with using the children, being petty and being spiteful to children to hurt a baby mom.
That should come back to you, bro. You mess with children like that.
Yeah, and then the other flip side of it is, like, yo, you think about it, well, he wants somebody to do it to his kid, but his response would probably be like, well, I could get my son or daughter, whatever it was, some McDonald's.
Give my son a Happy Meal. Yeah, what about you, son? And it's crazy because now, while she's recording him, she puts her personal business. You know, I'll get my food stamps to the 11th. Like, she's really thinking about this before she want to put him on blast. She's putting herself on blast.
Yo, my man E,
phones and videos, yo.
My man E, he was on the show. He came on a live with us before. He had posted something and he was saying, like, that he could have just, instead of buying how you call it, McDonald's, he could have just put groceries in the crib, which is an honorable thing to do, but not dudes that's not living with honor though today. So
right, I was just about to say that. Where's men with honor that would do that? Just because shorty, if she's on food stamps and you got a little bit of bread, trust me, man, that little extension of yourself goes a long way, bro.
Yeah. How could you, and not to belabor this, but how could you even live with knowing that there are kids in the house hungry, because of whatever her financial status is, and you showing up like, I'm just gonna feed one? Like, yo, that to me is crazy.
That part. That part, bro. Oh. But this is the world we live in, man, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know, Dude definitely made herself look like a bum, and she put all her personal business in the street. It is what it is.
That clip, I was like, Jesus Christ, is this happening? But listen, as long as we got these cameras, you're gonna see it all. Everything is
So we want to thank everybody for pulling up. This is episode 131 of the No Ideas Original Podcast. We'll catch everybody next week. Any parting words, Rob?
I'm glad you're back, bro. I'm glad you and wifey enjoyed your trip to Italy. You got some different culture. You learned some things. You guys, I admire you guys because y'all don't have a problem with going to all 4 corners of this planet and having a great goddamn time. Yeah. That's the part that I like. I'm trying to get this one on board. At least do something, but
tell her Italy it is. Get her in Rome.
Let's just go. But listen, man, the world is gonna change. The world is ever changing. And I think we just need to pay attention to a lot of things that's going on. I mean, we get so enamored by what we do every day systemically that we kind of lose sight of ourselves. The term I used not too long ago was lockdown. Like, we've been in these systems, whether educational, health, whatever it is, the systems that we've been groomed into living by. Sometimes you need to pull yourself out of that and think for yourself. Think about what you really want to do and think of how you want it to get done. People go to work 9 to 5, and in my opinion, taking nothing away from anyone going 9 to 5, because you have to do what you have to do. You have to feed yourself, you have to feed your family, and you have to do it consistently. But there's a period in that where you need to take yourself out of that lockdown system and do something for yourself. I don't give a fuck if it's walk in nature or do something. Go crochet or something. Like, do something outside of the norm that keeps you locked into that system. Because then when things do change, like Roe Vs Wade or gun laws, you get caught up in it instead of having your own independent opinion about it. Where, like, even in this case, Roe vs. Wade, that ain't got nothing to do with black women. That has nothing to do with black women, although it can affect them if it is that they don't want an abortion, because there are states that will, like Louisiana. Louisiana been one of them states in the deep south. I think that whole Bible Belt, where in the entire state of Louisiana, there were 3 abortion clinics. Louisiana is a big ass state. Now, with these laws being passed in certain states, you got to actually go to another state,
and
hopefully they, they don't abide by the ban. So learn how to get yourself out of the lockdown of what goes on every day. Systemic way of listening to the news at 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock, getting up, eating 3 square meals a day. Change your routine up a little bit and feel a little bit more independent.
Yeah, no, people, believe me, people will travel. They're going to be traveling. A lot of companies have agreed to finance employees that, that would be interested in actually getting abortions, going to other states. I'm in agreement with you. I think that a lot of the stuff that we're seeing now and that we're going to continue to experience, I think a lot of people look at it from a surface level and don't understand that it has deeper meaning to it. And there are things that we have more control over than we realize we have control over. And it may sound cryptic saying this, but we don't realize we have control over it, and we don't want to do the things that allow us to have control.
Keep control, right?
Yeah. So like if people open their eyes and they think, they search for deeper meaning, like even just the nature of this conversation that we have, and we're talking about the whole piece around inclusion in terms of race, and things like that, again, at the surface level, for a lot of people, this is a conversation. Oh, like, yeah, it should be a person's right, or no, it shouldn't be their rights. People aren't thinking at that level. And the same thing to bring it back around to the politics. A lot of people looked at it and was like, yeah, I hate Hillary Clinton. I'm gonna go with Trump.
Right, fuck Trump.
And but not realizing, like, whether you like Trump, hate Trump, Hillary Clinton, whatever this, that is, or whatever, if you look at these people and you say, like, this person is liberal, so they're gonna appoint liberal Supreme Court justices or whatever, but people aren't thinking. They're not that forward thinking. They're not thinking about that stuff. They don't think about it until it's actually in their lap.
Right,
and the people who seem to excel and do well are the people who are forward thinking around it. That's why you have people like a Herschel Walker that'll be like, nah, I'm a conservative, I'm doing this or doing that or whatever, because they're truly thinking about what their interest is down the road. Black people just pull their talking points from social media and roll with it and don't formulate their own opinion.
Because, like, it's surface level thinking. A lot of people just surface level thinking, and then I move on to the next. Have attention span of a gnat. If that long. They give no credence and no understanding of what did I just read and where is it coming from or why is it happening. They don't ask why enough. It ain't affecting my pockets. Fuck it. Let it go.
Yeah, if they think that, I don't know. Peace, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.
That's us, man. Peace.